Supreme Master Qinghai International Association Relief News Update from Japan. On March 11, northern Japan was stricken by an unprecedented magnitude 9.0 earthquake that triggered tsunamis and sparked a nuclear crisis. By Sunday, March 20, the number of confirmed dead and currently missing or unaccounted for had surpassed 21,000 people. The actual toll could be much higher, as entire neighbourhoods and families were swept away, with no one left to report their absence. Yet glimmers of hope still arose, as when an 80-year-old woman and 16-year-old boy emerged, miraculously alive, from beneath the rubble in the town of Ishinomaki 9 days after the earthquake. Altruistic care in the tsunami aftermath was also seen in one dog who loyally stood guard to protect an injured fellow dog, with both since being rescued.
Meanwhile, amid below-freezing temperatures and snowfall, even those who survived the quake and tsunami have often become vulnerable, especially as hospitals are already struggling with a lack of staff, medicine, and other essential supplies. With a large majority of the more critical cases being diagnosed as hypothermia, at least 15 patients have been known to perish in hospitals thus far. Meanwhile, over 350,000 people remain in overcrowded shelters that, due to persistent energy shortages, are generally cold and lack water, food, and electricity.
Having followed the situation in Japan with utmost concern since the initial catastrophe, Supreme Master Qinghai has offered an accumulated $80,000 to aid Japan.
With her sorrowful prayers and love, she asked that our association members please go to render emergency assistance, such as bringing medicine and other critical necessities, especially for the vulnerable, young, and elderly, and also requested that if any of the doctors and nurses are free, to go if they can help.
After assessing the situation at the devastated coastal city of Rikuzen Takata, our association's relief team from Japan and Formosa, or Taiwan, filled several large trucks with relief goods to deliver to the Rikuzen Takata City Disaster Countermeasures Office. They arrived as Rikuzen Takata City Mayor Futoshi Toba, whose own wife is missing and has barely been able to see his 12-year-old son due to tending to the entire city's needs, was about to announce serious news.
As we have informed you at 1446 today, we have decided to call off our investigation activity of life-saving. The governor of Iwate Prefecture has announced this because we have to move ahead. We hear that a lot of remains have been discovered. However, the figure has not been announced yet at all. After that, missing persons are 1,783 people. The number of shelters is 67, and 9,547 people are taking shelter. We, the city government, must also think about the future of the citizens who are alive and taking the shelter. Therefore, we think that we have to work further for them. Well, to tell you the truth at this moment, to comment on what kind of town or how we are going to revive is impossible.
Our association members went to bring the supplies, including undergarments, socks, slippers, toothbrushes and toothpastes, blankets, pocket warmers, snacks and sweets, water, diapers, etc. The city had not yet received a number of these materials, and Mr. Shirakawa was deeply appreciative for Supreme Master Qinghai's timely aid.
支援の物資をいただきまして大変ありがとうございます。本当に地震、津波の被害に遭ってからですね、まだ着替えもできてないという方々も多くてですね、今日いただきました肌着とか歯ブラシという本当に身近なものをいただきまして大変感謝をしております。
The relief team again checked with the office's administrative manager, Mr. Koichi Shirakawa, as well as medical personnel to see what else was required. They replied that in the chaotic aftermath of the disasters, they couldn't even grasp what was still lacking. As this is the case in many areas, part of the relief team meanwhile traveled to the other badly hit areas of Iwate Prefecture and Miyagi Prefecture to assess the situation and needs.
Meanwhile, courageous nuclear power plant personnel are still inside a danger zone, risking exposure to high levels of harmful radiation as they work to cool the overheating reactors at the Fukushima Daiichi plant, hoping to prevent a radiation leak reminiscent of the 1986 Chernobyl incident.
On Sunday, electricity was restored to reactors number 1 and number 2. However, officials say it could be days before power can be supplied to reactors number 3 and number 4, which still need emergency cooling. Personnel began spraying water into a spent fuel pool at reactor number 4 for the first time since its cooling system failed. At number 3, which was similarly sprayed for days, pressure rose earlier on Sunday but stabilized again. Thus, an emergency release of radioactive steam was not needed. On the other hand, the least critical number 5 and number 6 were verified as safe and under control by Tokyo Electric Power Company. Also that day, Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yukio Idano said that the power plant will inevitably have to be closed once the situation has been stabilized. Meanwhile, more Japanese food products are being identified with higher than normal radiation levels in a wider area than expected, prompting some shipments to be halted by officials.
Both the sale of raw milk from Fukushima Prefecture and the sale of spinach from Ibaraki Prefecture were prohibited.
More than 100 kilometers south of the plant in the city Hitachi, spinach was found with radioactive iodine levels 27 times higher than the government-regulated limit.
The Japanese government has also told people to avoid the tainted tap water in Itatemura village in Fukushima Prefecture.
Radioactivity was also detected for the first time abroad in Formosa or Taiwan in a batch of fava beans imported from Japan, although they reportedly did not pose a threat to human health. With our gratitude for the selfless efforts of the Japanese people, risking their lives and overcoming personal loss to assist others in need, we also thank Supreme Master Ching Hai for her devoted care, as well as our relief team members for their willing aid. Our prayers for the protection of the disaster-stricken residents, and that such tragic conditions become a thing of the past as we strive for gentler regard of our shared planetary home.
Supreme Master Ching Hai wants to convey this message of gratitude to all governments, organisations and relief workers from every corner of the world. Thank you, all the international and national help that brings care and necessities to afflicted victims. Thank you, all the relief workers, for taking time and forsaking your own comfort, even travelling great distance on unfavourable roads and conditions, to bring love and assistance to people in time of need. May heaven bless you abundantly for your generosity and noble sacrifice.